This is the service point training for data quality and making corrections to data. Good data is essential for helping clients and accurate reporting. It is everyone's responsibility to ensure good data. Clients need to feel comfortable to provide their information about their situation. Sometimes this includes very personal details. Case staff are responsible for collecting these data and creating records of these interactions. Managers and administrators are also a part of this process, providing training on policies and procedures, software workflow, and providing support when needed. In other words, everyone is needed to ensure accurate data is collected and used appropriately. In this training, we are going to review how to find and make corrections to data in various sections of the system. The first step to good data is to have training on how to use the service point system, taking time to learn the workflows required for each program type. The second step to good data is to ask questions. If there is confusion or uncertainty with any part of the data entry or correction process, ask someone for help. The help desk is working for you, the administrators are responsible for the data, and they want to make sure you have the tools to collect and maintain good data. The HUD APR will be used as the basis of the training as the concepts are similar with all the reports. Again, please ask for assistance if something doesn't make sense. The first thing to look at when troubleshooting, while may seem obvious, double-check the report prompts to make sure everything is correct. For example, it is not uncommon to have a date typo or choosing a similar provider name. If reporting groups are being used, make sure the groups are up to date and contain all the relevant programs. One helpful option in this report is the client filter. Entering the client HMIS ID and selecting Highlight Clients will highlight all the cells where the client record is used for the calculation. Project Identifiers. This section displays the programs used in the report. Review this page to make sure everything is completed, and nothing is missing. In this example, there are some missing data. Data per training to providers must be corrected by the administrator. Bring any issues in this section to their attention. Make sure the whole list is reviewed with the selection options on the bottom right. This section of the report shows various counts. Confirm these look correct. For example, if the program serves only adults, number 3 should be 0. Selecting any of the blue numbers will show which records are used to calculate the values. This section is essentially a value check as the first pass to make sure the number of clients served, and the overall counts look correct. Section 6 will help pinpoint some of the general errors that may occur in the data entry. Here are the personally identifiable information or demographics data. Missing information includes leaving a data element blank or selecting data not collected are invalid responses and must be corrected. Data issues here can vary but generally occur when mutually exclusive answers are given for a set of data in this section. When viewing data in ServicePoint, what is displayed depends on the area in the system. For example, when looking at the client profile screen, the data displayed here is the most current data unless the backdate function is used, then the data is as of the backdate. In the Entry/Exit section, data displayed will be as of the event, i.e. data on the entry worksheet will be as of the entry or project start date. Similarly with interim reviews and the exit worksheet. To view the historical data, beside each data element there is a small rectangle that changes from green to red, depending on the age of the data. Green indicates the data is current and bright red indicates the data is over a year old. Selecting these rectangles will display all the responses or the historical data for each data element. Always make corrections where the data quality reports indicate where the error has occurred. For example, if the data error was made when entering data on the exit worksheet, make the corrections on exit. The error on the report indicated here is an issue with the Social Security number. This occurs when the data elements Social Security and SSN data quality are not congruent. In this case, Social Security is blank, but SSN data quality is reporting a full Social Security number. To make corrections to these data, select the blue number, and look up the client record indicated in the window. Look up Client HMIS ID on the Client Profile tab. select the pencil to edit the client record. This will open the edit window. To make the correction, enter the Social Security, or if the social is not known, leave the social number blank, and set the SSN data quality to the appropriate value, either client doesn't know or client refused. Select Save. Client name and date of birth all have these secondary data qualifiers, and corrections are done the same way. Make corrections to the demographic data, select the pencil for client demographics. Other data issues in these two sections are generally updating the data from either a missing value or a data not collected response to a valid value. This section includes issues with destination and income. Most often issues with destination are related to using responses such as client doesn't know, client refused, data not collected or no exit interview completed. Two options will need to be corrected. These are leaving the destination blank or using data not collected. The other responses are valid, but again, high percentages of these can trigger data quality issues. These errors show as a warning to confirm these choices. To make a correction for destination, navigate to the Entry, Exit tab, select the pencil by the exit date. In the newly opened window, update the destination and select Save and Continue. The exit date and reason for leaving are also updated on this page. Troubleshooting income will be covered later in the training. This section looks at the chronic homeless data quality. To understand the chronic homeless definition, please look up HUD's current documents. The column names in the table indicate the issue, and contain the HUD reference to the data element in the HUD Data Standards document. This can be found online at HUD. In the headings, DK as client doesn't know, R as client refused and missing as a blank or data not collected value. Because there are 5 data elements used to determine client chronicity, it is important to pay close attention to how data is collected. Since these data are collected at entry, the entry worksheet will need to be corrected or updated. Navigate to the Entry, Exit tab, select the Entry or Start Date pencil to open the entry data form, then select Save and continue to access the entry worksheet. On the entry worksheet, scroll to the chronic homeless data elements. Update the necessary fields the report showed as errors. Missing time in institution and missing time in housing are displayed when prior living situation are set to one of the institutional options and temporary, permanent housing situations respectively. These fields are automatically calculated based on the length of stay in previous place. Data timeliness shows when the data was entered with respect to the project start date. There is no way to make corrections to any of these values, as this is calculated by subtracted the date of data entry and the project start date. Make sure client data is entered as soon as possible after intake or data collection. This section looks at persons and households served. The household served numbers are not blue and cannot be used to pinpoint which clients are associated with the counts. Persons served show the breakdown of adults, children and household type. The point-in-time count are the counts as of the last Wednesday of each quarter. There are 3 areas where issues can occur: date of birth, relationship to head of household and project entry. Date of birth determines whether a client is an adult or child. DOB and relationship to HOH are used to calculate household type, and finally project entry determines if the client is counted at all. 2 common issues related to program enrollment: clients either don't show up on the counts or partial households are being counted. A program enrollment is required for clients to be reported on most reports. Navigate to the Entry, Exit tab. Confirm in the summary the entry is present for the program being reported, the entry date, and type is correct. The next step is to determine if all of the household members are included in the enrollment. Select the pencil to edit the entry. Confirm all the household members are selected. If not, select them here. If the date is incorrect, correct it here. To change the provider if needed, select Save and Continue. To update the provider and type, select the new program or type from the drop-down at the top of the window, select Update. Confirm all the household members are included and their entry dates are correct. To update the client as an adult or child and the household, check the date of birth and household type. The DOB and relationship to head of household can be updated here. Make sure there is only one head of household, a single person is always HOH. Be sure to select Save when updating any of this information. The next sections report on demographics, gender, age, race and ethnicity based on household type. Similar issues can occur here. Confirm the demographics and relationship to head of household are correct as with the previous section. Confirm all the data is correct on the entry worksheet. Make any updates as needed. The next sections look at physical and mental health conditions, or disabilities as is referred to in Service Point. There are 6 parts. The first 3 show the types of conditions for clients at the start of the program, exit and for stayers, those who were enrolled as of the end of the reporting period. The second 3 show the number of conditions at the same intervals. As with most of the other sections, make sure date of birth and relationship to head of household are correctly entered. These are used to determine household type. There are only a couple of common errors with disabilities that are calculated in Section 6b. These updates or corrections need to be completed on the entry worksheet. The data element, does the client have a disabling condition? And the sub-assessment data must be consistent. Meaning, if does the client have a disabling condition is set to yes, there must be at least one condition in the sub-assessment that is set to yes. Conversely, if there are no disabling conditions, everything should be set to no. The magnifying glass in the upper left of the sub-assessment will display the full table of disabilities. This oftentimes helps in troubleshooting, being able to view the whole list. Another common error occurs when there are either duplicate or overlapping conditions, with conflicting responses. In this example, there are 2 mental health entries, with conflicting disability determination answers. The reports will not know if there is a mental health condition or not. Here, this seems like a duplicate entry. Since both have the same start date, use the trash can icon to delete the incorrect mental health entry. In this example, there are 2 different start dates for the mental health condition. This usually indicates the data entry was not complete and the first condition was not ended. There can only be one entry without an end date in sub-assessments, otherwise there can be errors in the reporting. There are 2 mental health entries, the first the 10th of February 2021 and the 10th of May 2021. To make a correction, select the pencil for the earliest entry the 10th of February 2021, and enter the end date. The end date will always be the day before the next start date, in this case the 9th of May 2021. Select Save to update the record. Most of the errors, issues with the sub-assessments can be mitigated by using the HUD verification workflow. Always start with the entry worksheet to correct errors, and then check each interim review and finally the exit worksheets. The corrections are all done the same way, however, most issues are corrected on entry. Follow these same guidelines for non-cash benefits and insurance sub-assessments. Errors in Section 6b, generally are missing data or data not collected responses. Starting with Veteran Status, from the Client Profile tab, select the pencil to edit the client record. Update the U.S. military veteran status, and select Save. Project start date generally does not have errors due to the Service Point workflow. A few issues can occur with head of household, missing data or data not collected responses are common, but multiple or no head of household designation will also cause an error. To make corrections, navigate to the entry worksheet from the Entry Exit tab, and review the relationship to head of household data element for each of the family members to make sure nothing is missing and there is only one head of household. Client location must not be left blank as this value is used for reporting based on continuum of care. Many reports will not count client records without a value entered here. The income section of ServicePoint tends to have more errors than most. With careful training and following the HUD verification workflow, errors can be minimized. Like the other sub-assessments that follow the HUD verification workflow, the corrections are similar. For income and sources at start, select the pencil to edit the project start date income. For income sources at annual assessment, select the icon in interims, and select the latest annual assessment for corrections. And finally, income and sources at exit, select the pencil to edit the exit date income. Always start with the project start date corrections, as quite often this will correct all the issues, and the annual assessment and exit data is dependent on the entry income. The process for making corrections is the same for all three sections. Income consists of 2 data elements and 1 sub-assessment. All three must be in sync. For example, if income from any source is set to yes, there must be a total monthly income, and there must be at least one source of income in the sub-assessment that equals the total monthly income. Common errors occur when these three values are not consistent. In this example, the client is receiving income, the total is $700, and the amount in the sub-assessment adds to $700. If any of these values do not match, errors will occur in the report. This is the first thing to check. Select the magnifying glass in the upper left of the sub-assessment for a better summary of the data entered. Other income errors can occur when there are overlapping income types and amounts. Shown here are 2 entries for general assistance. The GA starting the 10th of April 2021 should have been closed or ended before the new GA amount of $200 was entered. There should only be one income source without an end date. To make the correction, use the pencil to edit the GA of $300. This source needs to be ended the day before the new GA amount starts, the 9th of May 2021. Living situation issues are corrected on the entry worksheet and uses the prior living situation. Again, date of birth and relationship to head of household are also used in this chart's calculations. Length of time to housing is based on the project start date and move-in date. Move-in date is an often overlooked data element and needs to be entered on an interim review as an update or annual assessment. If there is a housing moving date from a prior enrollment, it is suggested the date is cleared using the blue arrow on the entry assessment when creating the current enrollment. Exit destination issues are corrected by selecting the exit date pencil and updating the destination data element. Again, with most calculations on this particular report, date of birth and relationship to head of household are required. Some final helpful hints. Open 2 ServicePoint windows, use one for the report and the other for looking at client records. Use the magnifying glass icon to view all the sub-assessment items in one window. Use the column labels to sort the data. Pay close attention to the dates in the sub-assessments. End dates of items are always a day before the next item's start date. For additional information or help, please contact the HMIS Help Desk.